This is our Toys R Us boardroom presentation by Kennedy and Aaron. So what is Toys R Us? Toys R Us is the leading kids store for all toys, video games, dolls, action figures, learning games, building blocks, and more. Charles Lazarus was the founder of Toys R Us. Toys R Us is a US-based company that started in 1948 in Washington, D.C. They added about 46 small department stores in 1957, and this is when Lazarus started using the Toys R Us name on his stores. There were international stores opened in 1984, and in 2013 the company started not making a profit and were recording losses. Where did Toys R Us go wrong? Toys R Us dealt with many struggles, mainly relating to market competition around the 1990s. Their major competitors were big box stores like Walmart, Target, Costco, etc. In 2000, Toys R Us partnered with Amazon. They were successful, but they were completely reliant on Amazon for all of their online sales when they could have invested in their own e-commerce business. They were in so much debt by the mid-2000s that a huge portion of their revenue was put towards paying off of their debt, and they kept declining. As a result of this, the shopping experience went down for their customers, and the stores became understaffed and poorly maintained. In 2017, the company filed for bankruptcy and started the process of paying all their debt back. What did Toys R Us do right? Toys R Us had an innovative concept that helped them cement the start of the business. So we found that in 1948, which was near the end of World War II, Charles knew that the baby boom was going to be the upcoming issue. However, for him, he decided that he could open a store in his father's bike repair shop. In this shop, he would instead sell cribs, strollers, high chairs, etc. This all helped shape Toys R Us. Allowing them to individually be shown on television was a huge positive for Toys R Us. This helped turn their $500 million toy industry into one worth $12 billion by 1990. For Concept 1, we chose job performance. We chose to look at job performance because we felt that Toys R Us could have been more successful had they looked at what their competitors were doing and look into ways to one-up them or at least be on the same level with them. The fact that Toys R Us wasn't offering ways to do online shopping with the rising technology at the time, we feel like was a huge part of their downfall. For Concept 2, we chose to talk about organizational commitment. Organizational commitment goes along with job performance, and those are both listed as individual outcomes in the green. Organizational commitment is the level of engagement and dedication team members feel towards their individual job and the organization. There's a lot that goes into this chart, and we believe that had this been utilized, this could have led to a more successful business. Concept 3, we chose to talk about decision making. Decision making refers to the process of generating and choosing from a set of alternatives to solve a problem. We believe that decision making could have been utilized more because they seen that there was a huge problem and that they were in a lot of debt. When Toys R Us started seeing issues, they should have had a better process in terms of decision making to determine their next steps. This could have helped them a lot in the long run.
Concept 4, ability. Ability refers to the relative stable capability. Hello, my name is Aaron Soph. So let's get right into it. Concept 4, ability. Ability refers to the relative stable capabilities people have to perform a particular range of different but related activities. Abilities can change slowly over time with instruction, repeated practice, and repetition. However, the level of given ability generally limits how much a person can improve. We believe that Toys R Us was fully capable of being successful, just as big as the box stores still are. They have the ability to improve their current business strategies into something much like the big stores had. The rising of new technology means there was much bigger changes needed in all business. It seemed like Toys R Us didn't seem to keep up with that. Concept 5, leadership. Leadership is the use of power and influence to direct the activities of followers towards a goal and achievement. In chapter 13 in the book, it talks about how their directions can affect their followers interpretation of events, the organization of the work activities, their commitment to the key goals, and their relationships with other followers, and even their access to the corporation and support from their other work units. Toys R Us seemed to lack the leadership during the downfall. It seemed as if they got into too much debt and they started just to give up on the company. They started not to do renovations. They started to be less innovative, and they kind of just went downhill as a slope. Concept 6, organizational structure. We believe that they had a good organizational chart laid out to show where everyone stood in the company and what their jobs and duties were. This chart helps represent every job in the organization and the formal reporting relationships between those jobs. And there's the figure to the right. Concept 7, changing the organizational culture. There are 3 components to an organizational culture: observable artifacts, exposed values, and basic underlying assumptions. Observable artifacts are the manifestations of an organization's culture that employees can easily see or talk about. Exposed values are the beliefs, philosophies, and norms of the company. Basic underlying assumptions are the ones taken for granted beliefs and their philosophies that are integrated into the company. We are aware of the changing culture once it had been established can be relatively difficult and are typically unsuccessful. However, if your business is already going downhill, we think you should be able to benefit that. Concept 8, the service culture process. Customer service culture focuses on service quality. Organizations that successfully create the charts that have been shown to change employee attitudes, they just work out better pretty much. We believe that Toys R Us created this chart and stuck to it. They had to make it more successful. It seems that changing leadership's behaviors can lead to better customer satisfaction and overall unit sales. Concept 9, trust and justice and ethics. Trust is defined as the willingness to be vulnerable to the trustee based on the positive expectations about the trustee's actions and intentions. Justice is the perceived fairness of the authority's decision-making. Ethics reflects to the degree to which the behaviors of the authority are accounted for. This chart on the right shows the most admired companies, many of which were Toys R Us competitors, and the reason for their failure. These companies showed their companies' levels and trust and morals that Toys R Us did not. Concept 10, stressors. A stressor is an event or a situation that causes stress. We believe a huge part of that failure of Toys R Us could have been because of stressors. During the time their advancements was there's a lot of things in the world. At the time, there's a lot of technology being made, and they really could not keep up with anything. They didn't make an online store, they didn't have an e-commerce store, and a lot of these other companies were doing that, and they failed to do that. And I think it was a lot because of their stressors. For our recommendations, we simply don't think there was a ton that Toys R Us could have done, because it's going to happen either way. They simply didn't make a store. They simply were falling behind other people. There's just no way it was going to happen. There really was nothing to stop. We don't think that getting involved to e-commerce would have helped them tremendously. However, overall, the big box stores still would have overrun them eventually. I believe that this case because we have much more customers than just children products. Amazon is a huge e-commerce business, and with all their benefits, they have probably beat us with this many businesses. There's your references. That's it. Thank you.